Hi, I'm Raymond. Welcome to Crimson Kitchen, where the kitchen is red and broccoli and cheese is a meal. That's right, today I'm going to show you how to make an entire meal out of the beloved side dish broccoli and cheese. We're going to use frozen broccoli and cauliflower, a delicious homemade cheese sauce, and we're going to add some ground beef, and those things together are going to make a delicious meal. So let's get started. Okay, for our ingredients, we're going to use one 12-ounce bag of frozen broccoli florets, one 10-ounce bag of frozen cauliflower florets. Now it's important that both of these be frozen because of the process that we're going to use. This is a 10-ounce bag and a 12-ounce bag, 10 to 12 ounces, whatever size you find these in, around that, that ballpark. We're going to use a pound of organic grass-fed ground beef. What I'm using is 93% lean ground beef. That's going to give you more meat. What we're going to do is drain the fat out of this. We're going to use, for seasonings, we're going to be very straightforward here. We're just going to use a tablespoon of sea salt. For our cheese sauce, we're going to use a cup of finely shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Finely shredded and sharp are both important. 1/3 cup of heavy whipping cream and 2 tablespoons of butter. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is put our pound of ground beef in a large skillet. You want to make sure that you're using one that has a lid, because we're going to cover it for a portion of this, but let's put our ground beef in a large skillet over a medium-high heat. Medium-high heat. And get it broken up nicely. And then we're going to add our bag of frozen cauliflower. I'm sorry, did I say cauliflower? We're going to add our bag of frozen broccoli and our bag of frozen cauliflower. Now we're going to leave this over this medium-high heat until the ground beef browns. Kind of stir it as it does so. Break up the ground beef a little more. And that's going to take a little while because these frozen vegetables are going to absorb a lot of the heat, and they're going to release a lot of water, and that's good because we're going to use that water to then cover the pan and steam these vegetables. So it's going to take a little while for the ground beef to brown. When it does, we'll be ready for the next step. Now I'm going to go ahead and add our salt. So when this finishes browning, we'll be back. Okay, it's been about 8 or 9 minutes since we turned the camera off there, and you can see this ground beef has finished browning. And maybe you can see, hopefully you can see a lot of water has cooked out of these frozen broccolis and cauliflowers, and that's good. We want that. So the ground beef is all brown. I've stirred and broken this, broken this ground beef up almost constantly. And now that it's brown, we're going to cover it. We're going to back our heat down to a medium heat, from a medium high to a medium heat. And so that's going to need to cook on a medium heat, covered for about 5 to 10 minutes. And while that's happening, let's make our cheese sauce. So what we're going to do for our cheese sauce is we're going to take a small saucepan, and bring it to a low to medium-low heat. We do not want a lot of heat here. Low to medium-low heat. We're going to add our 1/3 cup of heavy whipping cream and 2 tablespoons of butter. And what we're going to do is, over that low heat, we're going to stir this, a low to medium-low heat, we're going to stir this almost constantly as that butter melts. That's going to take just a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back. Okay, it's been 4 to 5 minutes, and I've tended to this thing constantly. You want to stir this, and you want to make absolutely sure that this cream doesn't burn or brown on the bottom of your pot. But you can see the butter is completely melted in there. Now we want to take our cup of finely shredded, sharp cheddar cheese and slowly pour it in there and stir constantly as we do. So as you can see, the cheese is nicely melted in that mixture of cream and butter, and this is, I don't know if you can see on the camera there, but this is kind of the consistency that we're going for. Depending on what brand of cheese that you buy, that can make a big difference in on the consistency of this sauce. And so if you don't have the right consistency that you're looking for, you can add a little more cheese to make it thicker, or a little more cream to make it thinner, until you get exactly what you're looking for. I recommend just doing that a tablespoon at a time until you get just what you're looking for. Now this cheese that I use funny enough, I use the store brand from Walmart, the Great Value Sharp Finely Shredded cheese. And I've done this with a lot of different brands, and this just ends up giving me the consistency that I really like. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to drain the fat and remaining water off of the broccoli and the cauliflower here. And there's not a whole lot of fat because I use the 93% beef. But if you use the 80-20 or the 90-10, you'll have a little bit. Especially if you use the 80-20, you'll have a good bit of fat that you want to drain. So do that in an environmentally safe way, and I'll be right back. All right, and so what you can do is you can take a fork and kind of stick it in the stalks of these broccolis here, and see if they are as tender as you like. I like them nice and tender, so I let mine cook for anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes covered like that. But you can do that for more or less time depending on how soft you like your vegetables. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this down to a nice low heat, and we're just going to pour the cheese sauce right in there. Give that a good mix. That all mixed up, and there we will have it. So if you want to join me over at the counter, we will serve this up and get a good look at it. Okay, we're going to serve this up onto our 9-inch dinner plate here, and talked about that a little bit in our last video. I normally say this makes 4 servings. You get a good 4 servings out of this. So whatever macros I put on the screen, you want to divide that by however many servings you get out of it. And that, I think, is ready to go. So if you join me at the table, we'll give it a taste test. Hopefully you can see on the camera there, it's nice and cheesy. And if you like, you can double that amount of cheese in here. Really puts the calories through the roof if you do that. So I like to just use the 2 servings of the cheese instead of the 4. But that's an option. Okay, friends, thanks for joining us for dinner. We're going to do a taste test now. This is not a new dish around here. One of Jordan's favorite things has always been broccoli. He's always loved broccoli. And then later on in life, cauliflower and broccoli and cheese, right? Mm-hmm. So this was just a way that we found to make a meal out of broccoli and cheese. Broccoli and cauliflower. But yeah, so we've always loved it. But let's go ahead and do a taste test here. Jordan, you want to? Yeah.
Just like always, delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious. The best way I can describe this is to say it tastes just like broccoli and cheese with hamburger meat.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is, but I think that sums it up so well if you can just imagine it. This 93% grass-fed ground beef is awesome. The taste is really good and the texture is really good. But we're going to have dinner now, and thanks for joining us, folks. And thanks for joining us for dinner. And as always, please give us a like and a subscribe. You know, if you've got anything useful out of this. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on
Crimson
Crimson
Kitchen!
Kitchen.